the second half, in part two today, we're going to be revisiting a case for some reason which is very important, which I feel has not garnered the appropriate attention that it truly deserves. That is the case of the missing person known as Kyle Clinkscales. We're going to be revisiting that case in particular. We're going to be showing some very important evidence and updates on this case and how it may relate, in fact, to at least 2 or 3 other missing person cases in Georgia State, and how it needs to be getting to an appropriate conclusion and getting wrapped up at this point. Now, some of the things is going to be quite shocking, so just be prepared. There will be another part to this in a few days as well. Thank you. Today we're going to be officially looking at, in this second video here, going to be looking at, for some reason, a very important cold case. It's called the missing person case of none other than Kyle Clinkscales. And Mr. Clinkscales apparently disappeared. It is alleged in Alabama, and he lived, of course, in Georgia State. So this is interesting to document and is important to look at for a number of reasons, because one of these unsavory church groups, of course, was infamous for being there in that south region of Georgia and traveling back and forth to Mobile, Alabama, and to Alabama in the area where Clinkscales, all of his personal effects are found in the river. And this is the car, apparently, that was found here as well. Woodruff said the car's hatch was open, but couldn't tell if that was already like that or if it had opened due to water pressure. So, and I'm going to be going to that address for a moment, too, to be able to look at the actual crime scene. But this is a very odd case. Took place with Clinkscales, who used to be an honor roll student at Auburn University. Similarly, just had a lot of things that he worked on. So we'll be looking at this. Thank you. Previous news coverage indicates searches of the pond did not lead to a body. However, the tip led to the arrest of Jimmy Earl Jones and Jeanne Pollock Johnson that same week. Jones was charged with concealing a death hindering the apprehension of a criminal, 2 counts of false statements, and more. Johnson was charged with concealing murder, false statements, and obstruction of justice. Neither has been charged with Clinkscales' murder. Investigators believe the killer was a man named Ray Hyde, who died in 2001. Hyde had owned a salvage yard, and police dug it up looking for Clinkscales' missing vehicle, but never found the car underneath. Investigators say Clinkscales may have known about Hyde's activities. Investigators say Johnson was at Hyde's home the night Clinkscales vanished. Investigators believe Jones did not participate in the murder but helped dispose of the body. They think Hyde moved the body from the pond to a new location in a different state. Wednesday, the Troup County Sheriff's Office says questions regarding previous arrests, the trial, and sentence should be referred to the Troup County District Attorney. So this was not the way to handle this. Of course, this happened years ago. I mean, this happened all the way back in the 1990s and similar, but it was handled the incorrect, improper way. That's right. They needed to have checked the tags for Clinkscale. That should have been the first thing that they checked. And check the tags for Jimmy Earl Jones and the other people involved. And I firmly believe now Jimmy Jones was one of the suspects who murdered or at least made Mr. Clinkscale disappear. But I don't believe that he's the one who ended Clinkscale's life. There's no questioning any of that. I don't believe that, because if we go here and we look at County Road 83, there are some strange forest areas, and there's some actual trails that go off the road into, out into the wild, out into the wilderness. And that's not normal for any kind of, for any kind of town or anything in Alabama. We already know that. Take a look again at the creek bed where Clinkscale was basically found. The car entirely hollowed out, everything dragged out, all the supplies removed. And look at the fact that there's a strange trail over here, and there's an area where one of these church groups, one of these problematic church groups, would allegedly meet, right over there in the woods. And now you tell me that the original Clinkscales case for Kyle Clinkscales, you tell me that it adds up. There are a lot of things about this situation and the murder of Kyle Clinkscales that does not add up. Jimmy Earl Jones, especially, he was a member of one of these church function-based groups. And over here we see there's a lot of people who would hang out here by the woods. So it's very questionable. And in a couple of days, there's going to be a part 2 directly on the Kyle Clinkscales case, because there are some things here that truly do not add up. Thank you. See, there's a number of things that don't make any sense about this, the least of which is, of course, on Jeanne Johnson's Facebook profile is all these pictures of the Obama family. And she was a part of a group with a cousin in the same group. It's a very unsavory type of church group. The arrest in the 29-year-old case of Kyle Clinkscales in LaGrange. So this was the Auburn University student who went missing on his way back from LaGrange, Georgia. Jeanne Pollock Johnson of LaGrange was arrested. So they got the correct person for sure with Jeanne Johnson. But there's someone else who's involved as well, because they were going back and forth all the time to the Moose Club. There's some things that don't add up about the church group they were involved with, at least back then, doing a lot of things at the Moose Club, going to the forest, right nearby. So this is an interesting case. And of course now we see they have church members there who were with Obama and similar. So this deserves a closer look. And this case is going to get a closer look. Be sure to let people know about Kyle Clinkscales. Thank you again. Like, comment, subscribe.